Hilton brings you new ways to stay, with experiences that let you capture the glory days. Introducing the Graduate Hotels. Each inspired by local college towns, these stays are always original and never boring. Get in touch with traditions all across the country and enjoy a stay that's a class above the rest. Book at Graduate Hotels with Hilton Honors Points at Hilton.com. It's a win-win. Hilton, for the stay.
Don't you love it when things are both easier and more affordable? Like when the rain washes your car for you. Or like when you save up to 10% by bundling your renters and auto insurance with USAA. Bundle with USAA and start saving. Get a quote today.
USAA. 1, 2, 3, 4. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast. The Brutally Delicious Podcast.
What's up, everybody? This is Dark Macek with Brutally Delicious, coming at you with a review of the Meshuggah show I saw in New York, April 24th, 2025 at Madison Square Garden. Okay, let me say that again. Meshuggah just played Madison Square Garden. The theater, not the full arena, but for the third time. Meshuggah played Madison Square Garden. The full bill was Carcass, followed by Cannibal Corpse, followed by Meshuggah. And Carcass even said that the first time they played New York was in, I think, 1990 with Death at L'Amour. So before I talk about the show, let's just take a second to applaud the fact that bands that extreme can play that kind of venue in the city. The last time I was at this venue, it was Megadeth with direct support from Motorhead and I think Volbeat. And now Meshuggah can headline there. So, anyways, it's a very stacked bill. It was the last day of the tour, so if you're hearing this now, maybe there'll be a second leg and you'll get to catch it. But Carcass as, the lowest band on the bill, holy shit. I've seen Carcass a bunch, but they still brought it tonight. Maybe there was a hunger in being the band that was on at 7:30. But even 35 years after their first New York show, they were still playing like they had something to prove, but also with all the showmanship as if they didn't. Very cool dichotomy. Now, more so than the other two, the thought of Cannibal Corpse playing Madison Square Garden is just hilarious to me. I get that their exposure in Ace Ventura is probably more pop culture zeitgeist than anything the other two has ever had. But I will confess it seemed a little unreal at first seeing them on a stage that big, not at a festival. A room that big shouting, "I come blood." There was another band. I was actually not expecting to enjoy their set, but there was a lot of energy tonight that was not present the last time I saw Cannibal Corpse, I think 2018. Maybe being on tour with the other two inspired them to step up their game, or maybe I saw them on an off night. But of course, Meshuggah as the headliner, as soon as they came on, it actually made perfect sense that they were playing a venue this big. Their laser show was built for rooms this big. This will sound weird in the year 2025, but I remember when I first heard about Ghost headlining Barclays, like where the New York Islanders used to play, I was like, how did a band like Ghost get to do that? Now it seems obvious, but it's a similar thing here. Meshuggah with their setup, with their, amazing musical talent, they deserve to be playing venues this size. Meshuggah kind of has a reputation for being one of the loudest bands out there. And what's better, being one of the loudest bands ever in a club with a shitty PA or at the world's most famous arena? The sound was immaculate. I cannot stress this enough. You could actually hear the bass. Hearing the bass at metal shows is almost impossible, but when you do, it's great. And this is a band that tunes down really low. Hearing the bass when a band is tuned below C or so is also kind of impossible. So you stick those two together and somehow we wind up hearing the bass. I don't know how they did it, but their sound dude probably deserves a raise. It kind of goes without saying that the band is probably the tightest band out there. I mean, you don't get the reputation that Bleed has without being incredibly interlocked, the drums and the guitar and just everything. I felt almost dizzy after the show, that is a sonic onslaught, and almost none of it is stuff you can dance to. It's funny because Meshuggah, is often considered to be kind of a groove band in a way, but it's not, something you would call groovy in most other contexts. but the combination of the volume, the intensity, and just how, off kilter so many of the rhythms are, at the end of it, you're like, whoa. So this is my first time seeing Meshuggah headline. The last time they were opening for Megadeth, 2017, I think. Now it's one of those things where I think, in for a penny, in for a pound on seeing Meshuggah as a headliner. They were definitely good when I saw them with Megadeth, but I think when they can bring their full production, it's just a different level. It's like, for another band, Trans-Siberian Orchestra, of course I listen to the music around Christmas time, but the live show is just a different experience. And for a band that's coming up on, I think, 40 years now, it's truly a wonder to behold, and I'm sold. Thanks, dudes. See you on the next run. Rock on.
Hey, what's up, you guys? This is Reed Mathis. I made a podcast called The Gifts of Improvising. The Gifts of Improvising. That's coming out on Osiris. We talk to all your favorite improvisers.
Natalie Cressman, Marco Benevento, Tom Hamilton,
Aaron Magner,
Holly Bowling, Bill Kreutzmann, and Jay Lane.
So what are you doing, a podcast?
Yeah, doing a podcast.
So don't fear if you hear a foreign sound to your ear.
We need the gifts of improvising.
This is Lawrence Lanahan, journalist, musician, and host of Rearranged, an Osiris Media podcast about music arranging. Once a song is written, arrangers make musical decisions that shape how we end up hearing the song. And we're not just talking about adding orchestral accompaniment, like horns and strings, or doing a cover version of a song. Arrangement can be putting happy music over dark lyrics, using samples, recording all acoustic, even tiny decisions like putting an electronic loop into an acoustic song to draw your attention to an important turn of phrase. It's all arranging. Rearranged episodes are documentary essays where I use arrangements to answer some big questions, like what is a song? And what can a song become? And how can the sound of a song change the meaning you take from it? Listening this way has changed my relationship with music. Tune into Rearranged, and maybe it'll happen for you too. Learn more at rearrangedpodcast.com.
Osiris.